Hello, my name is Ron Perry. I have a cold. I'm a model railroader. Scale modeler, model builder. Continuing on our large scale project, we have to work with wood. I ran out of boards that were the size of the boards that I already had on my mock-up door. So in my pail of scale wood I didn't have anything, and I picked up this grape box from my home brewer to hold a bunch of bottles, and ended up washing it off. And it doesn't look like it's washed off, but it is. It's just stained. And cut the strips to the width of the boards, said boards on the mock-up. I'm basically just going to cut one out for you, because I don't want to ruin my table here. The only problem with this is the knots. It's really hard to cut through the knots, and the boards you really don't need much. So there's two ways of going about doing this really, and in hindsight, I kind of decided that doing it a different way made sense. Okay, this one's really thin and breaking apart. I don't need it. Or maybe that's a good idea, because then the boards can be cracked. Okay. Here, mark. On this side. Make it work. Trying to go light so I don't break, cut the table. Cut the table a couple of times. I got in trouble for it. Just finish this board up. Okay, enough of that. Oh. Now, I did some work beforehand so I can explain a few things. Probably, since I have the opportunity to edit this video, I'll probably speed up the last section there, so that it's not so boring without me talking in the video. So, you know what my wood looks like in my smaller scales. This is the effect that we want to get, and this is, well, it's all too wet. It's not really done soaking. This is the effect that we want. Yet this is the effect. It just turns dark. It'll actually turn the color that we want it in time, and this has a lot of alcohol in it. So we're still going to be able to demonstrate with this wood. So to get this, I had to paint the wood. And ever since the spring, I've been using this new technique, and this is the perfect situation for it. Now, what this is when you just basically take acrylic paint and mix it 50-50. Well, not 50-50. A couple of drops of paint to a jar of alcohol, giving it an extreme dilution. So what we've got here are boards that are totally soaked with ink and alcohol, and we're going to give it some gray woodish textures like that. Dip it into my now, don't dip it in more than once. Try to brush it out as much as you can. You're going to add more alcohol to this mix. Where's my alcohol? Where is it? Too much, too much. Oops. Okay. There's always one. The one you need's not always never there. Oh, it's got too much cream in it. Ooh. 1, 2. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. Okay. Oh, I forgot I wanted to do something else too. This is a technique I learned from building Sierra West scale model kits. It's very easy. Just drill a hole in. Take it like that. Cut it off. You got yourself a knot. Doesn't make sense to do this while they're all soaking wet, but I'm gonna add a couple, and in these boards over here we'll add knots. I got a cough. Excuse me. Yeah, those look pretty good. Don't worry about them all looking different. This one might be a little too white. So let's bring the camera in here and start putting some knots in these boards. Okay. Put this one to the side because that might not work. Okay. So clearly we've got a few that need work. I'm just going to work on this broken one and this one right here. So let's get a piece of wood to work over our drill, and I'm gonna, oh wait, I had something else I was, let's get you on the target. There they are. Okay. So this is pretty easy. I'm using pin vise here with my broken drill bit. And I'm just pounding it through. And I'm going to add not on each side, and down here I'll put one in the middle. This doesn't need to take long. You don't need to think about it much either. Now I'm going to take a nice big screw, something I can grab, and bore that hole out. Get it in there, find my next one, bore a hole out of it. And then this one, bore a hole out again. Okay, now I'm going to take my bamboo sticks. I'm going to drive them through as far as I can. I'm going to cut it off. Now this other one, if you have a hole that you didn't drive through so far, and you want a smaller one in, you can do it. We'll do it right here by putting it in, pushing it flush, cutting it on the other side. Now you could glue these in with crazy glue, I guess, if you wanted, but I don't think it. I think it probably block stains and stuff like that, so I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. And anyway, with the addition of stain, it'll grow and fit into place. So there's one board, 3 knots in it. See, that was easy, lickety split, right? Our next board's not so easy, however. So we'll take it, we'll put one in where there, drive it through, and maybe another one right there. Oh, that's not even a... There we go. Now imagine it might make sense to place black or dark stain onto the knots. However, I believe that it might be able to go on after the fact more realistically. Now this board, I'm going to leave this spot a little bit dry, just see what happens with it. The rest of these planks will all get stained just like this. So I'm not going to wait for this to finish because it doesn't matter. I'm going to let these dry and we'll be right back. So the next day is here. The glue has dried on much of the wood that we did yesterday. And I glued together two walls to do the front, glue them down, and build some supports in behind so it's all stable and we can finish the front scenery. So let me go get those. First off, I wanted to show, yesterday we made some knot holes in our wood, and this piece board was broken in half, and we put two knots in the wood, and as you can see it looks really good. This board too, you can see how the knots collected the stain differently. There was 3 on this board. 1, 2, 3. Remember, this was a small... Oh, I'm not even facing the camera, dummy. So this one is 1, 2, 3 knots that we put into the wood. Looks pretty good. in my opinion. And this is wood that's been stained with my alcohol and acrylic paint mix. And this is wood that's been just stained with alcohol and ink. So you can see how the difference, the colors is big time difference. Also, this is the wood that was yesterday when I painted on the silver or the gray paint. This was the one that was had a lot of alcohol and just a little bit of paint, like it was when we were running out. So that's how that looks, and that kind of looks pretty good, you know, on a basic sense. And before we got to pulling out the walls and all that jazz, I wanted to experiment on something. You know, the problem with having the better half help you clean the shop every once in a while means that the tools are all missing. If you see my wire brush, give me a tell me, right? You tell me. Ping me. It was right on the floor. Figures. Okay. I want to see what this looks like. Yeah. Whoa. Look at that. I lightened it right up. That was kind of weird, actually. Huh. Kind of gives it that silver sheen, though. Huh. I don't know what to do. Like that, it's starting to add pull a little color out of this board. Yeah, like that. Yeah, the darker portions, the color comes out, and that's a nice variation, really. And we can really adjust that with weathering. It's not a perfect match. However, it does seem good enough in my books. You know, and this is a year old, so I don't know. Actually, in the end, I could take this paint and go over this wood a little bit too. Huh. It's just this one board here that I really don't like, but maybe that's the variation that we need. Right? So okay. First step is to cut down this bottom a little bit. Actually, we should be cutting off the top because we want the bottom to stay janky. Man, that's tough. I'm not gonna cut myself because I got my wrist on the ends of the boards and I'm pulling the knife towards me like that, like this. I'm not going. Gotta be very careful with these things, and you know, if you look in my toolbox over there, you'll find a full complement of stair building tools. Something that I used to do before my eyes got the best of me. Gosh. Perfecto. Let's work on this one first. Huh. I'm going to highlight these knots here. They're kind of dark, so if I shave the wood around them, it'll lighten it up. I don't want to touch that one too much because it's too light already. How do you think So I'm using glue sparingly in places where I can put it on like crazy. And this is a trick with all models. You find out where the back end is and you glue the hell right out of it. And that way, you can scrimp on the other places if necessary. And this wall will get solidified when this wall gets glued in. Right now, it's got a very basic tack onto the base, but it is glued to this wall. Mainly. Okay. Our next step here will be to take a cereal board or construction paper, whatever I find will fit. I'll cut it out around the door. We'll try to figure out a couple of ways to paint the door. I kind of screwed that up. Paint your whole castings if you're going to do interiors, huh? So, yeah, that's going to happen. The only problem with it is that the glass overlaps the outside, so it's going to show through if I paint it that way. How this looks on the front. It's not perfectly matched, There's a couple of reasons because that is too, and I'll point out right now. Here are two pieces of wood, and they're the same age. This is pine, and this pine started out the same as this. This isn't balsa, this is bass. I believe this is basswood. And as you can see, the basswood doesn't change in color at all. Right, so in the pine, it yellows. All these boards here are pine, and these boards are balsa. So they are taking the stains a little bit differently. And I did change the color of this a wee bit. However, as this ages or solidifies here, we're going to finish the rest of the barn with this, and then at the very end we'll make subtle changes to this front doorway so it'll match perfectly. But once again, we've got to wait for the glue to dry, and that's a good time to end. Thank you for watching. If you like watching these things, got something to contribute, just consider being a patron. I'm not a rich guy, and I could sure use your help in that way. And if I help you in this way, maybe we can, have a deal going on. Thank you very much. My patrons get prizes and stuff like that. Sometimes they get stuff sent out. At the end of this month, I'll be sending out a bunch of stuff actually to a couple of the patrons who've been there for the full year. I got a couple of new patrons that came on since September. It's really cool. It's very inspiring, and it's kind of upping my game. So if you want to help out, consider contributing $1. Thanks for watching.